Namaste students. In the previous class, you have studied the asexual reproduction in animals. And in today's class, you are going to study about the male reproductive organs, female reproductive organ, and fertilization, and what will happen after the fertilization, that is called as implantation, next growth. So everything you are going to study in today's class. Next, sexual reproduction in human beings or animals. In human beings, the reproductive system is highly developed. The reproductive organs are different in a male and a female. Most animals reproduce sexually. In sexual reproduction, the male and female produces special type of reproductive cells. Male produces the male gametes or sperm cells, and the females produce the female gametes or the egg cells or ova. First, we can study female reproductive system. In the female reproductive system, we can see ovaries, oviduct, uterus, vagina, and vulva. First one is ovaries. The ovaries are two whitish oval bodies. They are located in the abdominal cavity on either side of the uterus. Here, uterus is in the center, and the left side and right side of the uterus, near the uterus region, two ovaries we can see, that is in the abdominal cavity. So what the main function of this ovaries? Ovaries main function is it produces eggs. Only one egg is produced by an ovary alternatively every month. Means if 1 month right side of the ovary produces the egg, means next month the left side of the ovary produces the egg. So ovaries main function is they produces the eggs. Only one egg is produced by an ovary alternatively every month. That is the ovaries. Ovaries main function is produces the egg or ovum. Next part, oviduct, or it is called as fallopian tube. A pair of narrow muscular long ducts extended from each ovary to the upper part of the uterus. There are two tube-like or duct-like structure is there. They starting from the ovary region and they then join into the upper part of the uterus. So that is called as fallopian tube or oviduct. The mouth of this oviduct is expanded to form a funnel-shaped structure. Here the mouth part of this fallopian tube is expanded like funnel-shaped structure. And what is the main function of this oviduct or fallopian tube? The eggs that are released from the ovary pass into the uterus through the fallopian tube. This fallopian tube or oviduct, it is a connection between the ovary and uterus. So what are the eggs are released from the ovary, that eggs are then carried by this fallopian tube, and through the fallopian tube it enters inside the uterus region. Here fallopian tube shows the peristalsis like movement, means contraction relaxation, like that movement it shows. So with the help of this peristalsis movement, it pushes the egg to the uterus region. So it is a fallopian tube or oviduct. Next, uterus. The uterus is a hollow, inverted, pear-shaped muscular organ found in the pelvic cavity between the urinary bladder and the rectum. Here uterus is a bag-like structure and it is located in the pelvic cavity, and it is present between the urinary bladder and the rectum. Rectum, it is a part of the digestive system we can see. So between the urinary bladder and rectum it is located. And what is the main function of this uterus? The uterus main function is the baby develops in the uterus region. Here after fertilization, what embryo will form? That embryo grows in the uterus region and then it gives rise to a baby. So, growth of the embryo takes place in the uterus region. The lower part of the uterus is narrower. So, that part is called cervix. The lower part of the uterus is narrower. So, that narrower part of the uterus is called cervix. And the upper part of the uterus, it receives the fallopian tube. It is a broader one. Upper part of the uterus is broader one. So, it receives the fallopian tube and lower part is narrower. That is called as a cervix. Next, vagina. The uterus opens to the outside through a long muscular tube called vagina. When uterus opens outside, that outside part is called vagina. Vagina is a long muscular tube-like structure. It is situated between the rectum and the urethra. It is situated between the rectum and urethra. So what is the function of this vagina? The vagina receives the male penis during copulation and also serves as the birth canal. Here, during the copulation, the penis enters inside the vagina region. Also, the vagina, it is the main function is it to help for the birth of the baby. The birth of the baby also takes place through this vagina region. And the sperms are discharged into the vagina region also. Next, vulva. So, the urethral opening is seen above the vaginal opening in the region of the vulva. So, in the region of the vulva, we can see the urethral opening as well as a vaginal opening. That is the last part, vulva. So, in the diagram, you can observe a pair of ovaries located on either side of the uterus region. Its main function is produces the egg. And next, it connected to the tube-like structure that is called oviduct or fallopian tube. That fallopian tube then opens into the uterus region. Uterus is a bag muscular-like structure. And the narrower part of the uterus is cervix. And next, it opens outside, that is a vagina. So, we can see the part of the female reproductive system. Next, male reproductive system. In the male reproductive system, we can see the following organs as well as the glands. We can see testes, vas deferens, urethra, penis, accessory glands. First one is testes. There are two testes located outside the body in a sac called scrotum. Testes is the plural, testis is the singular. There are two testes are present. The testes are located outside in the abdominal cavity in a sac that is called as a scrotum. It is surrounded by a bag-like structure that is called as a scrotum. Each testis contains a number of coiled tubes in which sperms are produced. Inside the testis, we can see a mini coil-like structure that we call as a seminiferous tubule. So, in that sperms are produced. The sperms producing tubes in each testis join together to form a epididymis. Epididymis nothing but, so when the sperm producing tubes are there, when it join, then it is called as a epididymis. It is a mass of coil-like structure, that is epididymis. And this epididymis, it is become a cap-like structure over the testis region. Testis produces a very large number of sperms at one time. At one time, it produces a millions of sperms. Okay, why the testes are located in the scrotum region? Why it is surrounded by this sac-like structure? Because in such arrangement, the testes are at a temperature which is 2 to 3 degrees Celsius lower than that of the body temperature. This is the most suitable temperature for sperm production and development. For the production and development of the sperms, it requires a temperature below the temperature of our body, nearly 2 to 3 degree below the or lower the temperature of our body. That's why the testes are located in the scrotum region. In the scrotum, the temperature is always lower than our body temperature. So that temperature is suitable for the production of and for the development of the sperms. That's why the testes are located in the scrotum region. Next, vas deferens, or it is called as a sperm duct. The epididymis continues to form the vas deferens or the sperm duct. The two sperm ducts, one from each testis, open into the urethra just below the urinary bladder. So here this sperm duct that opens into the top of the urethra region just below the urinary bladder. Through this duct, the sperms leave the testes and reach the urethra region. So through this duct, the sperm from the testes, then it move into the urethra region. So it is one of the connection between the testes as well as the next part of this male reproductive system. It is a tube-like structure, so it is called as a sperm duct or vas deferens. Its main function is helpful for the transportation of the sperm. Next, accessory glands. A few important accessory glands are located with the male reproductive system. They secrete different fluids which together with the sperms form the semen. Here, what are the secretions are there from the accessory glands? It combines with the sperm, then it becomes a whitish or light yellowish color fluid that is called as a semen. Semen nothing but is the secretions of accessory glands and the sperm. Together is called semen. There are three types of glands we can see. First one seminal vesicles, next prostate gland, next corpus gland. First one is seminal vesicle, are a pair of lobulated glands, each opening into the corresponding sperm duct just before they unite with the urethra. You know the sperm duct then join to the urethra region. Before joining the sperm duct to the urethra region, this seminal vesicles is connected to the sperm duct. The seminal vesicles produces a secretion which serves as a medium for the transportation of the sperms. Here, what are the secretions are there? That secretions, it helpful for the sperm for the transportation. The seminal vesicles, it secretes the fluid into the The fluid when mixes with the sperms will get a medium for the transportation. Then sperms can transport very easily. So seminal vesicles, it is a lobulated glands. It is connected to the sperm duct. When the sperm duct is connected to the urethra, before connecting to the urethra region, the sperm duct receives these seminal vesicles. Next, prostate gland. At the base of the urinary bladder, encircling the urethra, a gland is there. That gland is called prostate gland. It is present at the base of the urinary bladder and circling the urethra region. Its main function is it secretes the alkaline secretion. This alkaline secretion is poured into this sperm and as it passes through the urethra. So, prostate gland, its main function is alkaline secretion. This alkaline secretion, it neutralizes the acids which are present in the vagina region of the female body. In the copulation, the semen enters inside the vagina region. So, if there some acids are there, so that acids is neutralized by this alkaline secretion. So, prostate gland, what it secretes the alkaline secretion, then it mixes with the sperm and it passes through the urethra. Next, corpus glands. The corpus glands are two small ovoid glands found below the prostate gland. Just below the prostate gland, we can see the corpus gland. And the secretion of these glands serve as a lubricant. So, whatever the secretions are there in the corpus gland, so it acts as a lubricant, means it helps for the easy passage of this sperm. So, whatever the secretions are there in these accessory glands and the sperm together is called as a semen. Next, urethra. It is a small duct that passes through the penis. Semen from the testes passes through it. Here it is a small duct. It passes through the penis, and the semen from the testes, it is also passes through the urethra region. Next, penis. The penis is the male reproductive organ through which the semen is released. Both urine and semen passes through the penis. The penis is a part of the male reproductive organ, and through the penis both the urine as well as the semen will pass. So it is called as urinogenital canal because it passes the both urine as well as the semen. So that is, it's called as urinogenital canal. In the diagram you can see male reproductive system. You can see a testis. It is present inside the scrotal sac because to maintain the temperature below the 2 to 3 degrees Celsius, then lower than the body temperature. So that temperature is suitable for the production and development of the sperm. Next you can see the epididymis. It become a cap-like structure over the testis region, and in the behind the testis region a duct is passing, that is called as a sperm duct, or it is called as a vas deferens, and then it joins into the urinary in the urinary bladder in the urethra region. So in that region we can see in the glands, seminal vesicles, prostate gland as well as the corpus gland. Then it passes the urethra, then the urethra is present inside the penis region. So this is the structure of the male reproductive system. Next, fertilization. During sexual intercourse, the sperms are released in the vagina, from where they actively swim upwards with the help of their tail. Out of the millions of sperms released into the vagina, only a few of them are able to reach up to the upper parts of the oviduct. The rest die on the way and are absorbed. Here, in the vagina region, the sperms is released, that is semen is released. Semen means it is the mixture of the secretion of accessory glands and the sperms. When the semen is released, the semen contains the millions of sperms. In that millions of sperms, only few are able to swim in the female vagina region. With the help of the tail, they will swim. And then they will reach the oviduct or fallopian tube. In there also, only few are able to reach into the oviduct or fallopian tube. Because they have the mitochondria, they can utilize the energy. The mitochondria supplies the energy. With the help of that energy and with the help of the tail, they will swim and they will climb up into the oviduct region. Only few are able to reach in the oviduct region, because in the oviduct region the fertilization process takes place. The fertilization process takes place in the fallopian tube or oviduct region, not in the uterus region. So, when they reach the oviduct region, if the egg is released at the same time, only one sperm is able to fuse with the egg, not all the sperm. So, only one sperm is able to fuse with the egg. So, during fertilization, the head part of the sperm penetrates the egg and the tail is left behind. So when the sperm reaches near to the egg region, only the head part of the egg enters inside the egg region, but the tail part remains outside the egg region. The tail will not enter inside the egg region. The nucleus of the sperm and the ovum fuse. So when the head part breaks the wall of the egg, the head part of the sperm releases the nucleus. That nucleus fuse with the nucleus of the egg or ovum. So that process is called fertilization. So usually fertilization takes place between the one sperm and one egg. Only one sperm is able to fuse with the egg. Here many sperms reaches near to the egg, but only one sperm it can fuse with the egg region. During fusion, only head part of the sperm enters inside the egg region, because they releases the one of the enzyme. With the help of the enzyme, it breaks the wall of the egg and the head part enters inside the egg region. The tail part of the sperm remains outside the egg region. And when the head part enters inside the egg region, it releases the nucleus. That is called a sperm nucleus. This sperm nucleus then join with the egg nucleus, or the sperm nucleus fuse with the egg nucleus. That process is called fertilization. The fusion of sperm nucleus and the egg nucleus is called fertilization. So when the fertilization takes place, it produces a zygote. The fertilized egg is called as a zygote. After fertilization, we can see the implantation. Here, when the fertilization takes place, it gives rise to a zygote. In the fallopian tube, the zygote divides continuously. It gives rise to a mass of cells. It looks like a small ball-like structure. When it becomes a small ball-like structure, then it slowly moves into the uterus region. That is called as an embryo. So this embryo, when it comes to the uterus region, it forms a small pit in the wall of the uterus. It forms a small hole in the wall of the uterus. This embryo then fixes in that pit. This embryo then it fixes in that pit. The fixing of the embryo in the wall of the uterus is called implantation. So after fertilization in the fallopian tube, zygote divides continuously. It becomes a mass of cells. It looks like a small ball-like structure, that is called as an embryo. When it forms embryo, then it slowly comes to the uterus region. And in the uterus region, this embryo, it forms a small pit. In that pit, this embryo go and fix. So that process is called implantation. And this produces the state of pregnancy. So when the implantation takes place, that state we call as a pregnancy. Next, growth. Growth means any type of irreversible increase in the size and weight of an individual during the process of development. The growth is nothing but it's a type of irreversible, means we cannot reverse it. It is a type of irreversible increase in the size and weight of an individual during the process of development. During the process of development, their size and weight also increases. So that is called as a growth. In the growth process, a single-celled fertilized egg, that is called zygote, divides and redivides to form a cluster of cells. That is, it becomes the embryo. This division is accompanied by another process called specialization of cells. The specialization of cells leads to formation of different parts of the body. This whole process is called differentiation. So, when the zygote continuously divides, it becomes a mass of cells. this mass of cells we call as a specialization of cells. So this each cell give rise to a different body parts. Each cell give rise to a different body parts. So that is called as a differentiation. This process also give rise to various tissues and further various organs and organ system. So this differentiation process later it give rise to a tissues become organ become a organ system. Here whatever the cells will form, each cell give rise to a different body parts. The zygote grows into an embryo. The embryo soon develops into a baby, or it is called as a fetus. Your embryo later it develops in the uterus region, then it become a fetus. Usually when the small baby is present in the uterus region, we call it as a fetus. When it comes out from the female body, then we call it as a baby. So each cell gives rise to a different body parts. So by the end of 5 weeks of the pregnancy, the embryo is in quite an advanced stage. After 5 weeks of pregnancy, we can see a little bit a human-like appearance in the uterus region. During this period, the heart and the circulatory system are formed. So during this period, heart and circulatory system will form because this fetus requires the oxygen as well as the nutrients. After 2 months, limbs are formed. So after 2 months, we can see the limbs. The first, the heart and circulatory system will form. Next, birth. The full-term development of an embryo in the uterus is called gestation. Means how many days it requires for the full development of that embryo is called as gestation period. In humans, it lasts for about 280 days, means nearly 9 months. At the time of birth, the baby is pushed out with the head oozing out first by the powerful contractions of the muscles of the uterus through the vagina. Here, through the vagina, the birth of the baby takes place. So during the birth of the baby, the muscles which are present in the uterus region, it undergo the contraction. When it undergo the contraction, it pushes the baby to the outward direction. And through the vagina, the first head will come out, then remaining parts will come out. So that is called as a birth of the baby. In today's class, we have studied about the parts of the female reproductive system, male reproductive system and their main functions. And after the fertilization, what are the process will take place, you have studied, that is implantation, development and birth you have studied. So in here, the diagram based questions are very important. They may give the female or male reproductive diagram. So you have to identify the parts and you have to label the parts. That is very important. And implantation and gestation, these words are very important.